What's up, fellow journeyers? So like pretty much all you guys, we are hunkering down. JJ is teething, full-on teething today.
I know, if you want back.
Which means he is sassy at the turn of a dime. Is that even the right saying, turn of a dime? I don't know. Anyways, he's sassy. So Tennessee, just in the last week, we've had a tornado watch, we've had flood warnings, we've had wind advisories. Last night we didn't have any tornado stuff, but we had wind advisories of winds, I don't know, like over 40 mile per hour winds. So it kind of came out just assessing the situation this morning of what, it rained 24 hours straight, which it doesn't sound super bad, but I mean, like, we're talking monsoon type rain that causes flooding for 24 hours straight. It was a lot of rain. For the most part, now I'm not gonna say the wind, the kids' toys, we'll say the wind did that too, but. Just like some limbs on the ground. There's one over here in the trampoline over there. I mean, we've got some decent sized trees, you know, in and around us. But, you know, you gotta pick your poison. I mean, if you want shade and you want the wind blocking, you know, it blocks some of the rain and some of the wind, and there's definitely some good things about being in the woods and the trees, which is what we wanted. But that's one of the scary things too. You never know what's gonna happen when it comes to weather. You know, a tree falls on a house, it could definitely cause some damage too. But I would have to believe if a tree falls on an RV, it could be worse. It's just not structurally as strong as a house. Even some of our friends of Freedom Theory, they posted a couple of pictures of a tree falling. I guess it may have been the same wind system, but I know it was within the last day or two, but like a tree that fell on their toy hauler and a tree that fell on their parents' RV as well. Thankfully, they're all okay. You know, you see pictures like that, you hear stories of tornadoes, you hear stories of high winds and hail, and in the Airstream, not just like the fear of something happening to us in the Airstream, but like hail, like the amount of financial damage that would do to something like an Airstream, especially if you're driving through a hailstorm. There's a lot when it comes to weather and RVing. And I hope this doesn't, I hope you're not like, all right, boop, I'm watching something else because this is freaking me out. I'm not getting an RV, or I don't want to see or hear about what goes on. That's not the point of this video, to scare you from RVing because of weather, but it's just to be honest about some of the pros and some of the cons when it comes to weather. Because I think, like a lot of things with RVing, there's just more decisions. There's more things there's more you have to do as far as prep. There's more you have to do as far as awareness of what's going on around you with weather. There's a lot more thought that goes into it than maybe into a house. And so some stuff we do with our fifth wheel as far as like prepping if there's gonna be bad weather, or if we're in an area with bad weather. Now, we're moving around quite a bit, and not like in Tennessee. Like, honestly, we don't get out our big awning all that often. If we do, I make sure I put it up every night. I put it up if we leave, because you just don't ever know when there could be a gust or something. But here in Tennessee, I'm pretty familiar with the direction the gusts are coming from and what the weather's gonna do. And I'm always ultra aware with some apps and stuff we'll talk about later. But yeah, the awning stays out more here in Tennessee, but it didn't stay out last night. I mean, 40 mile per hour winds, I'm putting that thing in. So any heavy rain, a chance of hail, winds, once they start getting honestly over 15, definitely over 20 miles an hour, I mean, that awning is coming in. There's even a chance of that happening with a gust. So it got put in. And in addition to that, it's nice having the fifth wheel. We got this whole front area where we can kind of, it doesn't stay perfectly dry, but it does better than nothing. We can tuck stuff under, you know, the front of the fifth wheel. We can tuck stuff under the slides. I mean, not a perfect situation because we don't have like a big giant garage with a house or anything like that, but at least better than the Airstream. I mean, there was nowhere in the front to tuck things under. There were no slides to put things under, anything like that. So it is nice to have that extra bit of outdoor space to be able to sort of put things in a spot to keep them a little bit drier. Water always gathers on this spot right here. So I'm gonna try to keep it off as much as I can. As far as the toys, we have toys that stay inside, we protect all the time. Then we have toys that these are the water toys that go with the hot tub, so they stay outside. And these are like our outside toys that were supposed to be put into this crate that didn't happen, that were okay, you know, with these toys being outside and getting wet and all that kind of stuff.
I don't know about the music choices on this one, but it looks like a good workout.
Arms, then crisscross your legs and walk from side to side.
What's this move called?
The crisscross banana walk.
Crisscross banana walk? I like it.
Wrap your arms like you're hugging yourself. And reach like a moon. Bend down your arms and squat. Then you do the kicking leg.
Kicking leg?
Like this.
Still tight working out in here, but definitely easier in the Airstream too, I'd say. At least we got some headroom. You can even raise your arms in the Airstream. There you go, look at that.
That's hard.
Like this?
Go back to a crunch and stand up.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I was sandbagging. I want you to feel better. Looks like it's gonna be a rainy kind of day. Marissa's already ran into the truck. What's your most memorable moment weather-wise RVing?
We actually haven't encountered a lot of bad weather, thankfully. The only time I remember really like seeking shelter and being maybe a little bit worried something was coming was in Snow Canyon in Colorado. Was it Colorado or Utah?
Yeah, I think Colorado. Looks almost like a vortex trying to form or something over there. It's just spinning and spinning and spinning. Hensley, let's go. What's up? You got a piece of hail in your hair.
Oh. This is a close one.
This is a close one. Nothing really ended up happening, but we definitely thought something could happen.
The tornadoes in our hometown area took place while we were in Florida, so we weren't here when they happened, and we actually haven't really got to see the devastation of the town yet. I think it's something we've been kind of nervous about. You know, it's just like seeing something that you grew up always around being destroyed and knowing what people had to go through. So I think it's going to be pretty emotional going to check out the aftermath.
Whole neighborhood's gone. It's just rubble. So we're gonna talk with one of my friends, my good friends I grew up with, Matt. This is his driveway. I mean, his family went through a lot. Obviously, all these families went through a lot.
We were asleep, and the tornado woke us up. Angela said, "What's that noise?" And I said, it was unmistakable that it was a tornado.
It pretty much dropped.
Yeah, it came right through there. The tornado dropped down Clemens Road back there and came this way, but the F4 dropped right before this neighborhood.
Okay, yeah.
So when it became an F4, it became an F4 there, went all the way through the neighborhood and pulled back up to an F3 over there. And
Was it like a train? That's what people...
Yeah, it was. Angela says it was like a train, and the loudest whistle you've ever heard. So like the wind, the whistle of the wind. And all of our boys lived upstairs in the house. So we got out of the bed and started running, and our windows started blowing out in our bedroom. Blew out in the living room. We ran upstairs. I opened my 9-year-old's door, and his window had just blown out all over him. And then my 11-year-old and my 2-year-old, we got them, and we came downstairs, and it was over. And it was silence. And we thought Everything was okay. We knew our house was thrashed because we had a 2x6 board that had shot into our living room like a dart. All of our windows were gone. But then my 11-year-old looked outside. He opened the front door, and he's the one that said, Dad, everything's gone. And then we just looked outside, and then you kind of stand there in shock, like you don't know what to do. And then it just becomes like fight or flight. Like, then you just go start helping people, whatever you can do. So I got my family situated. We came out, and actually right behind us over here, which all the foundations are gone, but there was a mom with her 2-year-old son, and she had gotten out, but he was inside the house. So neighbors came and started helping dig him out. He was fine. They got him out. Our neighbor right here brought his truck out, and we started loading people up. The lesson you learn through something like this is to get to know your neighbors, because you need them when times are really good, but when times are really bad, it's great to know their voice. It was an indescribable experience, and you'll never forget it.
There was a 2x8 shot through that wall, Nathan. It
Oh
was,
my goodness.
Yeah.
Shot through it?
Yeah.
Goodness.
This room definitely got the worst of it.
yeah, that had first been built back.
This was definitely the most personalized house that we had. So it's very strange, like all the railing here was still there, but all of our patio furniture just sucked out like a vacuum.
People are finding people's pictures in like Virginia.
Oh yeah,
Kentucky.
Matt and Jessica
Yeah,
Garrett.
I saw that.
Yeah,
Crazy.
they had a pic in Virginia. Yeah, I came up here, and Eli's room was right here, so I came here first. And Angela ran to Micah's room first. And Micah was asleep. He slept through it, our 2-year-old. But his window wasn't even broken, which is amazing to me. Wow. But Eli's room, his window was busted out. And then Ethan came out of his room, which is over here. But this was the same stuff, like things had shot through the roof. Worst damage on our house. But this was where all of our, this is our storage room. So all of our family heirlooms and all that stuff, and it completely just ripped this whole side of the house off.
So they already built all that back.
They've already framed all that back.
Yeah, that's all new.
The next morning when I came up, it was just standing in open air. You didn't. And this is pretty close to what it was like. It's pretty accurate. The houses were gone like that. These weren't torn down. They were completely taken. It was like they just exploded.
Well, it blows your mind that nothing was left of a house, but people could still be there. Yeah.
Yeah. This area by far had the most death. So there's so many miracles. There's so many stories that we keep hearing from this neighborhood. Just family after family after family of all the crazy things that happened. I don't know how anybody's alive.
I saw those in the pictures and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's
that
what
they've
that
searched
means.
and it's cleared. And
Yes. In reflecting, I don't think we ever really took storms seriously. Mm-hmm. When a tornado warning would happen, I would come look out on my front porch to see.
Yeah.
And now we just view everything differently. But the one thing that we've told our boys too is that the tornado that hit here, this is not typical. This is historical. So you want to take everything serious, and you want to make sure that you're always prepared and you do the right thing. But you also want to live. I heard somebody say the other day to don't be scared, be prepared.
Yeah,
so I think as long as you really process and think through and you're comfortable with your plan, it does alleviate some fear. We'll always be afraid of storms. We'll always be afraid of storms.
So really appreciate Matt talking with us. I know it was hard, so thank you, Matt, if you see this. I know it's not easy. It's hard for me to see, and I mean, it's just, but there's just, they didn't tear this down. There's just nothing. It says like a bomb went off, pretty much. That's what an F4 does. There's just nothing left. I don't know. You don't really even know what to say, so. It's just rubble. It's rubble. So many stories. Some stories of just joy, just miraculous that people survived, and some stories of sadness of people who didn't. Now we're gonna go from here. We're talking to Mackenzie. Where's she at from here?
The first thing we did when the tornadoes hit was check with all our family, because this was in miles of Nathan's family, my family, and so we checked on them. And I don't think I realized how close this was to my sister Mackenzie. I mean, literally you can see her house over here that she's at. So, you know, it's just crazy to think that this came through, you know, her backyard. So definitely want to go and see her. She's Mackenzie's a hero right now, because she is working in the ER on the front line of all this going on as far as the virus as well. So haven't got to see on her and love on her as much as I would like, because she's definitely sacrificing being a nurse right now and taking care of people. So definitely want to go see her from a safe distance, but you know, and hear her story. Give a distance.
Yeah, so there's Hensley Drive where we're just at. That's the end of the cul-de-sac. And then Matt's house where we're just at is like behind these houses right over here. And then Mackenzie right here, which you can see they got a lot of wind damage. Did you already do some repairs to your roof? It
Yeah,
looks
the
kinda
roof
new
is
there.
done. The only thing that's been done is the roof. That's it.
And you were here the whole time, right?
Yeah. We were, I think it hit about what, 1
or 2
in the
Yeah.
morning. She came to get me out of my room. We went to her bathroom. We were there for probably like 5 minutes. And then we just heard this sound. We both describe it as something you've never heard before. You just hear it and you know that something's going on. It felt like the roof was being torn off. And then for a couple minutes, and then it was just quiet. It was just gone. And everything was dark. There was no power anywhere.
So the worst of it was like 2 minutes, or
Yeah.
just a few minutes.
It hit, scared for your life for a couple minutes, and then it was gone.
You were crazy close.
I don't think
Could throw a rock. I couldn't throw a rock. Marissa probably could. But it's changed the way you prepare and the way you view storms, and you,
Oh, most definitely.
like last night, which you were at work last, let's see.
Yeah, I was working till about 8:30.
But the storms last night, I mean, you definitely knew what was going on.
Oh yeah, checking my phone every 30 minutes.
You didn't just turn your phone off and go to sleep like a baby at 8:30.
No. We thought about going somewhere else. Like it's sad that you don't even feel comfortable in your own home, because we don't have a basement.
Mhm.
So we thought about going other places because it just terrifies us.
So you went in the bathroom. Is it like,
The
does it
bathroom.
have any windows, or is it kind of not as many windows?
No,
at
there's
least?
no windows. The bathroom is right over here. We didn't even know what was going on, so we weren't even in the bathtub. We were just standing there in the bathroom when it hit, because we didn't realize how serious it was.
That was tough to see and experience. Feel a lot of pain from that
Yeah.
road, from Hensley Drive.
The community was really shaken up, because when you live in a small town like we do, we're all close-knit, and chances are you know a lot of different people that were affected by the storm, and you know, when they hurt, you hurt. And so it is difficult to go back and see that, but it's also just puts things in perspective. Sometimes your big problems don't seem as big anymore. I think sometimes when you see what's going on in the world. I don't want storms to keep me from living my life. I don't want to live in fear, but I also want to take them seriously. So I feel like that really helped me, you know, have a vision in my head that it is serious, and to for us to have a plan and be prepared. So that's kind of what we've taken from it is, okay, now what can we do to be prepared? Yeah, and that's the goal of this video, is not to obviously demotivate you guys from ever leaving your house or ever doing anything and just sleep scared at night, but it's to prepare
for things and know that there is the reality that there's those kinds of things out there. So what are some things we could do as RVers or in a house or anything really, but especially RVing I know as well, because again there's more decisions when it comes to this stuff. What do you do to stay safe when it comes to storms like this? One of the things you can do, weather radio. So we've got one of these, has battery backup. If you want the most for sure way to, you can put in your settings for your county and everything like that you're in. The thing is when you're traveling, you might have to change the county for what you're doing and all that too. So these are a good option, but another good option too is just apps on your phone. Now the tricky thing about apps on your phone, I know I thought before this, oh, I've got, you know, a specialized weather app that, you know, I'd seen alerts on there before for stuff. It'll wake me up if something's going on. Well, a lot of them, and I'm gonna say most of them, if your phone is on silent or if you have do not disturb on, they're not going to do that. And that's kind of scary. So you really want to research and try to find apps that no matter what are going to alert you. From what I understand, there's not a lot of those out there. I've heard that on at least iOS, haven't checked out Android, but an app called Carrot does that. Obviously, if you remember and you want to be safe anyways, just turn off do not disturb, make sure your volume's up and all that on your phone too. But just in case you did forget and you have an app, it's good to have one that'll do it no matter what. I think having a plan in place, no matter where you're at, is a good thing, whether you have a house or an RV. For us here at the RV, and we've talked about this, if something goes wrong and we have time, our first place to go to is over here to Donna's house. Now, if we happen to have extra time, we would actually go about, you know, 400 feet over to her sister's house and go to the basement. So it's, I know that's kind of two decisions. You don't want more decisions than you have to have. If you're in a house, it may just be an obvious one decision. And that, again, that gets tricky because that's the thing. If you're in an RV and you're moving around, do we find a new place to go every single time we go somewhere? The good news is some RV parks, if you're in a tornado heavy area, may already have a place for you to go.
And we saw that on our travels. Definitely in those areas, you'll see a lot more storm shelters.
Yeah, so if it's spring or if it's whatever the peak season is for tornadoes or something like that, and you have to be in that area, double check. They may already have a storm shelter. If nothing else, they may have a brick bathhouse or something like that. So know where that's at. If it's just you and your wife or whoever you're traveling with, talk that over. If it's a family, let them know. But just have a plan where if something goes wrong, you're not scrambling around spending. I mean, we talked to Matt. I mean, Matt's family got zero time to do anything, but probably best case for where they were at, because it was touching down right there, was 1 to 2 minutes. I mean, that's not a lot of time. That's time to grab your kids and hunker down. It's just not a lot of time. So you got to have a plan in place. I think something cool that he talked about too was have a emergency box.
Yeah.
And if you have a house, you can keep it in that place. In an RV, maybe it'd be quickly accessible, but like helmets, if nothing more than a bike helmet, it'd be good to have a better helmet than that probably. But helmets, flashlights, first aid stuff,
water,
blankets, yeah.
Because I mean, I guess to put in perspective, when that tornado hit, it was the middle of the night.
2 a.m.
So yeah, I think 2 a.m. You're wearing what you wore to bed.
People waking up had no shoes. He said it was like it was snowing outside because all the insulation was floating through the air. It was all over everybody.
Yeah, I mean, so here it is, February. You know, it's February. You only have the clothes you had on your back when you went to bed. Everything's gone. No shoes, no blankets, no water, no light. So they're doing all this, trying to find anything they can find to pull people out. So yeah, definitely just having a little kit, even if it's in the basement or wherever's a good accessible area.
Most of the stuff we've talked about, it's a con in an RV. It's a con that you're not maybe structurally sound as a house. It's a con that maybe you don't have the same place you can go every single time if something goes wrong. It's a con that there's all these decisions to make. But I think one pro as an RVer, and this is a big pro, you control where you park for the most part, hopefully. So if you see or you know that an area is prone to bad weather, or you're watching on your phone and maybe it's nothing more than you leave a day earlier than you were going to leave and you go away from the storm, or maybe you were going to go somewhere but you check ahead on the weather and see that, oh goodness, there are terrible tornado watch, you know, or potential tornadoes for this area we were going to go to. Let's put it off a couple of days.
And we have done that before.
We have.
I think if anything, you're probably more in tune with the weather when you're RVing, because we have to be, because travel days, we always have to look ahead, know the weather, know the wind speeds, know where we're heading. So I think it has helped us being more prepared in a sense where we're always more in tune than we were in a house.
And so just thank you so much, guys, everybody who helped. I know we had a fundraiser for a lot of what you saw today, these families. You saw what happened to the houses, what happened to the whole neighborhood.
Yeah.
I know over $110,000 raised on that, and just you're impacting lives. You really are. I've got stories of that money from anywhere from like people just helping someone have somewhere to stay and live because they've lost their house. Maybe they are going to get insurance money eventually, maybe not. But it gives them somewhere to stay while all this is going on. Stories of just nothing more than maybe just putting the siding on the house, fixing the house. It's that money means so much because it's one less thing for them to think about because they've already got so much to think about.
I mean, there are people still in the hospital. There are people still fighting for their lives. There are people that had to bury loved ones. You're definitely impacting these people in their ultimate time of need right now. So you guys are awesome. I just want you to know that you've really changed lives and helped people in their darkest moments.
We've got a few more tips. I know we did a Q&A, a what. We used to do those with Hensley on Wednesdays. So if you want to flashback to what she used to be when she said the what-whats, we got one about weather and what was it, like dangerous things, I guess, on the road, something like that. We'll link to that as our video. That you guys can check out after this if you want to. Glad we could share this with you. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for your love, your support. This is our update from Cookeville and the tornadoes. Until next time, we'll catch you guys later.